Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Weimer, since World War II, a pipeline in Maine and Vermont and New Hampshire has shipped crude oil north to Canada. Recently, speculation that this pipeline flow will be reversed to ship tar sands down from Canada has raised a lot of concern among my constituents. Centered to the concerns is the fact that around the adequacy of spill response plans, the structural integrity of an aging pipeline, and its ability to hold up the shipping of new material in the opposite direction. And many congressional representatives from the region, including myself, have called for a new EIS and presidential permit before such a pipeline operation can move forward. My question is, as an independent watchdog of the industry and regulator, are there other precautions or requirements you believe that would be necessary in order to maintain the pipeline's current safety operation?
Yes, thank you for the question. I'm aware of that pipeline. That pipeline actually has a very good safety record up to this point, but I think the concerns of reversing that pipeline and running a different type of crude oil through it are justified. I think the issues you laid out are some of the main ones that need to be looked at. I know the state of New Hampshire recently took on spill prevention on their own because they were concerned that the federal government under PHMSA was not doing an adequate job of spill prevention, especially for oil sands types of crude where they may sink if they get out of the pipeline, which I think is the major concern up in that part of the country. So I think the things you laid out, looking at the hydraulic changes, the different constituency of that pipeline, what that might do to a particularly stress on the pipeline and aging pipeline, and then spill response if that material should get out are the key things that people should be looking at. And the states do have some authority on spill response planning.
Thank you very much. This question is for Mr. Bradley, Pearson, and Santa. The current natural gas bottleneck in New England is crippling Maine's manufacturing base because we're at the end of the pipeline. Without increased natural gas capacity and getting industrial end users connected to the pipeline, Maine will continue to lose manufacturing jobs. A recent regional agreement between New England governors is a good start, but more still needs to be done. My question is, as representatives of the private sector, what more can be done at the federal, state, or local level to increase natural gas supply to Maine? We'll start with Mr. Santa.
Thank you for that question, Mr. Michaud. We're well aware of the capacity bottlenecks in New England and the effect that that is having on the region's consumers and industry. INGA's members have proposed new pipeline capacity into that region. One of those projects is going ahead, the Algonquin Incremental Markets Project. Others are in their open seasons. We applaud the region's governors for their leadership through NESCO in proposing that the cost of additional capacity, and especially the capacity to serve electric generators, be defrayed by including those costs in ISO New England's transmission tariff. We also applaud some of the region's electric distribution companies, National Grid, United Illuminating, Northeast Utilities, for stepping up to be the anchor shippers on that project. So we're very hopeful that the region has reached a breakthrough here, and INGA's members are very committed to getting more pipeline into that market.
From the hazardous liquids perspective, we have a bit different process to establish a new pipeline. And as you know, pipelines connect supply with demand. And as demand changes, supply changes, we've got shippers that when they have a strong need to make a movement in a particular direction, they'll make commitments that enable the capital to expand a pipeline.
Thank you for the question. As an LDC in the last link in the line, we are downstream of New England. One of the things we want to make sure we do is to ensure that our customers that are on an interruptible rate do interrupt when they should, so we don't pour more gas off the line than we should, and our customers don't pull more gas off the line. We also want to make sure that our peak day demand is well appropriated, and we have contracts in place acceptably and demand contracts in place to move gas along the pipe.
Great, thank you. And Administrator, Waterman, I want to thank you for your testimony today, and I recognize that your agency is still working to develop the new regulations required by the 2011 Act, and I'd like to urge you to promulgate those rules as quickly as possible so that the private sector has the certainty that it needs to invest and expand capacity, in regions like the state of Maine. So I want to thank all the panelists once again for your testimony this afternoon. Thank you. I yield back.